What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I'm kind of on location, but with me is a good brother. He is a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu practitioner, a connoisseur of all things pro wrestling. He's the one, the only, Anthony Aguilera. Anthony, what's going on?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Dude,
Just
going
just
good?
doing.
It's hot. It's hot in here,
It is fun. Well,
but
you're locked in a
I
car,
mean,
so
I am in a car, but there might be some air conditioning there. But just I don't know. I'm roughing it. I'm what do they call it? Glamping. That's what I'm doing.
yep, yeah, yeah.
But I mean, speaking of all things hot, man, like you were just like running roughshod and have run roughshod for a decade, right? Like in jujitsu, getting it after competition, and then like out of nowhere, almost like the Randy Orton gimmick, uh, an injury befalls you. So, how you feeling? What's the
Yeah.
status on that?
So, like you said, I've been doing this for a long time, 15 years now, and this is the worst injury I've ever had. So, I mean, it was pretty bad in the moment. I ended up tearing my medial and lateral meniscus, and I was in the middle of the match at SJJF Worlds, and we're in the 50-50. Nobody did anything wrong. It wasn't his fault, it wasn't my fault. It was just placement of myself. I was trying to come forward, he was trying to make me come back, and my knee went to my butt, and I ended up popping it 7 times and tore it. But right after that match, I won. I won that match. Came back and won. But I knew something was wrong in the middle of it when, like I said, we're in 50-50. Me and the guy both stopped. We both stopped, and he was like, "Are you good?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I think so." And I gave up the 2 points. I let him come up top, and when I try to triangle my legs, I felt a large pressure on my knee, and I was just like, "Whoa, I've never felt this before. Something's definitely wrong." Uh-oh. Well, time to win. Time to come out and win. And I ended up just getting up. I took him down. I passed his guard, and then I ended up being lucky enough to win and hold out. He actually caught me in a triangle in the last 10 seconds, and I was like, "Oh, I'm fat, like I could last in a triangle." And it was really tight, and I was just like, "Anthony, you better not tap," And ended up winning the match. But I think things could have got a lot worse because I'm stupid, and I had students and I had good friends competing at SJJ Worlds with me, and I'm stupid, like I said, and I jumped the barrier on a bad leg. Jumped it, ran to go coach my friend, Gino, and he ended up winning Worlds. Jumped it again to go coach my student, Sammy, and he ended up winning too. And so it was a good showing, but after that, it was very, very, very sensitive. Um, Went to the doctors. The doctors gave me Norco or Narco, whatever it's called, and that stuff did not work. It like I was still in pain. Took about a month or so to see get the MRI and things like that. But after I got the MRI, it seemed like after I got the MRI, everything went by so fast, and the whole process was fast. And it was like, okay, boom, boom, boom. You got physical therapy. Your surgery date's this. Your surgery date's this. Your recovery time's this. And it's just been all systems go since then. But yeah, I would honestly say the time off maybe not worth the surgery for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you're a surgeon, this is probably not going to, be kind to
Yeah,
you. But I mean, if you can start off surgery, right? And not to say that the process is any less tedious, especially like your situation of meniscus, like all of that stuff, But it's been kind of, again, I'm not a doctor, but some people have, you know, relieved bulging discs by, just doing an inversion table for 2 years time and, and the different stretching and what have you. It's, of course, modern medicine is incredible, but also to it are a lot of healing therapies and techniques and, stem cells and all this stuff that, might be able to kind of like, go to the knife, right?
Yeah, I think I avoided it for a long time. I hurt my knees pretty bad, and when I was in high school, I hurt my left knee pretty bad, and a lot of my teachers that were in physical therapy and sports medicine, they're like, dude, I think you tore your LCL, and I was like, cool, sounds good, and I went and competed in Worlds the following weekend without a care. I mean, I got triangle the first round, so it didn't really matter. But still, I still had the balls to go out there and put it on the line, and I didn't care back then too much about my health because I was a kid and I was like, this is the thing I love to do. I don't want any time off. Now, being a older kid, young adult, 23, I feel like okay, if I needed to do something and take time off, it'd be now because I don't have too much time left in jiu-jitsu. I want to be done by like 28 or so. I want to be done competing. I want to just coach after that because at that point it'll be 20 years of hard competition, and I want to kind of take my foot off the gas a little bit and put my talent and my God-given ability to my coaching ability. So it's like, oh man, I got to take it off now. I only have like 5 more years left. That's not fun. But honestly, the first 5 days were the worst post surgery, and then after that, it kind of loosened up a lot. And so I go to physical therapy a week and a half in. They test your range, they measure how much you could go and things like that. And
Right.
they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing, I'm just doing what you guys tell me to do." And they're like, "No, no, no, you don't understand. You are not supposed to be able to bend this much. Like, how are you able to get so close to your butt? And how are you able to completely extend your leg?" And I said, "I don't know. Like I'm doing what you guys tell me to do. I'm taking the pills that I hate taking. In terms of the medication, I'm not a pill popper. I hate doing that stuff. But if I needed the pain needed to go away. I was taking it. Um, and I was just trying to stay focused on the task at hand. I got to get back. At this point, currently right now, today's the 8th. Tomorrow will be 3 months. I'm out of jiu-jitsu. I haven't trained in 3 months. Well, that's a lie.
Wow.
I'm lying. So not too many people know this. After I tore it, I waited about a month, and my 15-year anniversary of training jiu-jitsu is August 13th, and there was a
Wow.
tournament on that exact day, and I had signed up months prior, and I ended up saying, if there's one match, I'll do it because I know me as a competitor, I'm not going to be able to say no. And on top of that, I don't know any other way. And yeah, I could get hurt a lot worse. Yeah, I'm putting myself at jeopardy. My family was very, very upset with me. My girlfriend was very, very upset with me. But I couldn't say no. And I thought I was fighting somebody else, and I was like, oh, that looks like a kind of a like an easy match. Cool, I could do it. I can handle it. And it ended up being this Brazilian kid from Atos who was like 190 pounds, ripped out of his mind. And I I, I was like, well, you know what? I already said yeah. Screw it. Let's do it. So I try to do everything the opposite way, and it was actually a decent showing for myself. And for me, not training for a month, no cardio, I'm fat. I was eating everything. I still am, but it was okay. I felt like it was okay. I kept looking up at my mom. I was like, I'm good. Doesn't hurt. It's good. This is before surgery, obviously. And then we ended up going to overtime, which to me was like very telling that okay, I'm still decent at jiu-jitsu, even hurt, even with one leg, I could still do jiu-jitsu at a pretty good level. Um, and then when the guy he went single leg X and he extended my bad leg. I was like, I'm just gonna go down. 10 to 12 minute matches is pretty good for me. I'm tired, you know. And so that was the last time I trained, and then after that, it's just been trying to focus on recovery. But post surgery, they told me I shouldn't be able to do that. Then I went 2 days after they told me that, and I was able to completely bring my heel to my butt. And they're like, "What are you doing, man? You're not supposed to be able to do this. This is crazy how much you've already recovered and have that much range of motion." and I'm just like, dude, I'm just doing what you guys tell me to do. And I'm the type of guy, I'm gonna push the limit a little bit, and my family hates me for that. But I don't know how to say no. I don't know how to say, okay, this is enough. I gotta push myself because I want to get back as soon as I can. They told me it was gonna be a 6 month recovery, and I'm looking forward to those 6 months to just get stronger. I'm going to the gym with my brother a lot. He's like my biggest motivation. So when he's like, "Hey, I want to lose a couple pounds, and I need help," I'm like, "All right, let's go to the gym." So that's what we've been doing. Not since the surgery, because the doctor hasn't given me the okay, but I have a doctor's
Right.
appointment on Wednesday. So once they tell me, "Hey, you can start lifting upper body" or things like that, honestly, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I feels good enough to go to the gym at least. Probably not to train.
I mean, again, the competitive fire of a 15-year tenured athlete, which Addis goes, hey, my boy Woods, what's up, man? What's going on, Addis? Glad to have you here. Jose Ventura says, yeah, the other guy was able to get 2 points in OT. That's a technicality. It's a
that
technicality, right?
I mean, to me, that's pretty telling. I'm not gonna sit here and gloat, but I'm in terms of the SJJF world ranking, I'm number one, and that guy is the number three guy. So the fact that he's a real high level guy too. We went to overtime. Um, just tells me I'm okay. I'm not terrible. I didn't fall off, so that was good for me. That was good for my ego at least.
No, 100%. It's kind of crazy because there's some similarities, right? Where uh, you may have injured yourself, much like CM Punk jumping over the guardrail and catching kind of
Yep.
weirdly, but apparently you're healing like Yoel Romero.
I
Allow
wouldn't
you,
say that. Yeah, that guy's crazy. But I've had a lot of help along the way. My family's. Say this with full sincerity. I have the best support system in the world. My family, my mom, my nana, my uncles, my girlfriend have taken care of me. My brother has taken care of me. I have the best support system in the world. I mean, you've seen my mom. You see her post and she
yeah,
tags me
she's
and everything.
brilliant.
She's that's my mama.
Yeah, she's so brilliant. And I love the synergy that she has not just with you, your siblings too. I mean, this absolutely impeccable in terms of the love that she has for you.
Oh yeah, I
So,
mean
I mean,
she's big. She's a big lover and also the biggest hater. Uh, she'll put you in your
ooh,
place. My mom's 6 foot, so I'm always have to look up to her both ways, physically and literally. So
yeah,
and also mentally, emotionally, all that stuff. So I'm like, So when she hates on me, I have to look up, and then I'm like, okay, I'll look down. Never mind.
no, 100%. And, Jose says, yeah, coach still has it. One hell of a coach. There you
I
go.
appreciate it. That's one
And
of my students,
yes, and Bobby,
Uncle Bobby.
shut up, Uncle
That's
Bob.
my Uncle Bobby.
What's up, Uncle Bob? Yeah, man. But I mean, how has it been, right? Because obviously, 15 years in the game, none more evident than the competition that you entered. On your the 15th year to the day
To the
you
day.
started jujitsu, right?
Hmm.
So there's a I mean, an athlete's mindset is different, especially a combat sports athlete, right? I guess when it's good, it's good, right? And you have world champions the world over and whatever. But when it's bad, it's bad. You have like what happened to the Miami Dolphins quarterback, a couple weeks back,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's terrible.
So how has it been in terms of mindset? It seems like you're pretty well, pretty well acclimated to, kind of the easy life, but there's still that fire burden. So how have you been able to kind of manage the two?
Well, I think for one, the mindset is Kobe Mamba mentality. I think that's the biggest thing for me. I have Kobe on my arm. I got Kobe's writings here, so Kobe's one, the Mamba mentality being my biggest drive. But how can I fail when I have so many positive people around me? Um, I have to be great. You know, granted, we don't make too much money doing jujitsu, but I don't really care about money. I care about my people, that being my family, my students, my loved ones, uh, my friends, whoever it is. As long if I could be that positive person for them, even though I'm down in the dumps, trust me, it's hard, man. It's hard to sit here and I'm like, I've never taken at so up until the 6 month mark will be like 8 months total that I haven't trained, and that's the longest time I've ever been out, and that's gonna drive me insane. This is only month 3, and I'm like, I gotta train, man. I gotta do something. Um, but I have the best support system in the world. My students support me through and through. Um, Jose being one of them that's been commenting on here. I got a lot of my guys from where I was working at UFC gym. Um, they moved over with me. I left UFC in maybe March. There's a lot of bad blood there, and I told them, hey man, as long as you guys keep training, I don't care where you train. I don't want to sit here and be that guy that's like, no, you have to come with me or I don't like you guys anymore. What I built at UFC gym was a family. It's never been done before. I was there for a year and we took home the team trophy in San Diego. It's never been done before in the UFC gym, all of UFC gym history. It's never been done before. And I was blessed enough to take enough guys to go out there and win. And they followed me. A majority of them followed me over back to Tillis, and they're great. They fell in love with Noah. They fell in love. They're already in love with me. I love them. Noah loves them. And then I have my family here, and that's easy. They got me no matter what. I don't like the saying they have my back because people stab you in the back, right? I like saying they're by my side because we're an army, right? The worst thing somebody could do to you if you know if they're standing by your side is they walk away from you, right? I don't like
Uh,
being stabbed in the back. I'd rather have people by my side. My mama taught me that, and me and my family were an army, and I say my family is in my immediate family, my blood family, and also my students, my team.
nah, I love it. And Bobby says, fuel for the fire.
Yes,
And
sir.
Jose says, Tillis is his new home,
Yeah. So fun
which is
fact
great. I
about
mean,
Jose is Jose's he lives in Compton. He makes the drive all
wow.
the way from Compton to where Noah's is at, like Whittier, La
Yeah,
Mirada area. He makes the
yeah,
drive all the way there for me, and that um, I have so much respect for that, and thanks for that because who am I? I'm just some kid. I'm some kid from Whittier that was supposed to be a football player. His dad passes away a year later. He starts doing jiu-jitsu, and who would have thought this would be my life now? To be able to share everything that I've been given in terms of talent, technique, patience, and able to give back to the community and to the jiu-jitsu world. It's kind of mind-boggling for me to be where I'm at this point. I'm not saying I'm great. I'm not saying I'm like the highest or the high level, but I do have a lot of great people in my life that I'm able to show that that they're capable of it. If I'm capable of it, why can't they be capable of it? And Jose's just a testament of that. To come from Compton to Whittier is a hard drive for one, and he does it every day,
yeah,
and he does it on Sunday to come do private lessons with me. I love that kid. I love my team. I love my family. I'm super grateful for them.
yeah. Mario Yamasaki's to Jose. That's some amazing work that you're doing there. And Dora Perkins says, Team Tillis right there.
Yes,
And
sir.
the good brother Alex Ramirez says, I stand by your side, Anthony.
Yes,
So shout
sir.
out to all of you. Uh, so I mean, and that's amazing, right? Because unfortunately, those things happen. Bad blood happen. Gyms, kind of fall out acrimoniously and what have you. So, to have that contingent kind of come over with you, and even with your mindset, I think your mindset of like, I don't care where you train, you've already got the bug, you've already bitten, right? Like, and we've
Yep.
already attained as a team something unfathomable, right? The UFC gym, for those, just kind of like a Reader's Digest history, right? Well, UFC gym was supposed to be tap out gym
Hmm.
back in the day, the old school tap out fight gear and what have you, right? But Mask and Punk Ass and Skyscrape, the tap out crew, they were so thought of highly by Dana White that he was going to partner with them in UFC gyms. I mean, tap out gyms, and almost raise it in the vein of like a 24-hour fitness that
Correct.
spreaded the propagation of combat sports. Muay Thai, MMA, Jiu Jitsu, and the cardio that you would get from mixed martial arts or combat sports training, and they're bringing it to you in your neighborhood, and that was I the ideological
Yep.
kind of uh, foundation of the UFC gym, right? Or the precursor to the UFC gym in the tap
Right.
out deal. And there was only one location in downtown LA, and then unfortunately, Charles Mass Lewis passes away, and then it becomes UFC gym not too long after.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good at UFC gym. Um, at specific locations. The one I was at was La Mirada. They were good
Mm.
too. For the most part, there's a lot of good people there. But maybe I'm gonna be a little petty for a second. Uh, there's the people that are heads there, that are the main guys, managers, don't know how to manage. Um, the fitness director there is a liar, for lack of words. One of the guys I trusted a lot. I started working there for him as a favor, doing the jiu-jitsu program for him. He asked me to do it. I also worked with him at the high school, at La Mirada High School, for the wrestling team, and he just turned out to be a bad guy and a liar, you know what? I'm gonna say it. I don't care. He's a thief too. He stole money. Uh, I don't do that. I don't vibe with things like that. It's not my flow. And then the guy that runs the MMA program, I think you might know this guy, Renteria, Anthony Renteria from he's
I may,
from
I may.
what he's from that gym too. What's it called? I can't think of their name. From Dondo's gym.
De La,
Del, oh yeah,
De
yeah,
La
yeah.
O, right?
Yeah. I think he has little man syndrome. He just thinks he walks around like he's all big. He's an egomaniac. Doesn't know how to do jujitsu. Promoted himself to his third stripe on his brown belt. Guy sucks. That guy doesn't know how to do jujitsu from anything. He turtles up and defends his neck the whole time. That's all he could do. But to be the head of the jiu-jitsu program, and then he's giving classes out to guys from, and I'm not hating on the other guys at all. They're there to do a job, right? The guys that are just employees, not managers, they're there to do a job. They're not there to kind of ridicule you or anything like that, or step on your toes or anything like that. They're there to do a job just like I am. But there's no way that a purple belt that just got his purple belt from checkmat should be overstepping me, right? That's just fair. Like that's just rank. There's rank in this thing, and this guy has only been doing jiu-jitsu 5 years. I have double that, and I didn't care about that too much because I still had my students on certain days. But then it's just a line, and then they suspended me for no reason, and I was just kind of got fed up with it, and I told my guys, like I can't do this. It's not fun. It's fun when I'm with you guys, but as soon as I step off the mat, it's just drama. And I don't want to teach jujitsu when it feels like a job. Right? This is my love and this is my passion. This is everything I've done for 15 years. This has made me the person I am. It shouldn't feel like, oh, I gotta go to work. It should be like, I gotta go
Right.
teach jujitsu because these guys need to get better. Right? And at that point, I was just like, you know what, guys, I'm done here. I can't do it. And there's a lot of drama to go with it. I ended up leaving the high school as well, um, because
Mm,
of it, and that hurt
yeah.
a little bit more because you build these relationships with kids, and they trust in you, and they get comfortable and familiar with you, and they you know how they wrestle, you know how to coach them, they know how you're going to coach them, and you know, okay, hey, coach needs I need to make weight. How can I make weight? The other guy didn't do anything, right? He's the one of the head guy, probably the head guy at UFC gym, and he'd throw him at me and say like, "Hey, have them cut weight with you." It's like, dude, I'm in the middle of a class, dude. What do you want me to do? Like, I can't have them run on the. I can't monitor them when they're going in the
Right.
sauna or running or on the bike, whatever they're doing. I can't monitor that if I'm teaching in a class, right? He was very lazy. So I would try to take initiative on it and be like, all right, come with me right after school from wrestling practice to the gym, and we'll start cutting weight. One of my kids cut from like 120 to 112 in a day, and which is terrible. You shouldn't ever be doing that. But he did it, and he needed to be at 106 by I think it was Friday, we had 2 days to do it. So he's already at 112. It's not bad, 6 more pounds, and the I'm the girls wrestling coach, by the way. I have nothing to do with the guys. I didn't get paid to be the boys coach or anything like that. So there's no reason why I should be having to help the boys. I should be with my girls, having them cut weight and fix everything and do things like that. And I was with the boys helping them cut weight too. And so, like was saying, this kid, the head coach wanted him to stop. He wanted him to go 116s, which is way different. Those kids are cutting and way stronger from 106s. And it doesn't make sense when this kid's trying to go to CIF and Masters and State and things like that. Granted, you shouldn't be putting on that much weight. You know, I'll be fair. You
Right.
shouldn't be going, if you're at 120, you shouldn't be going 106. But in the midst of everything, you're in the middle of the pandemic, right? So, yeah, these kids are coming back to wrestling a little bit heavier. So I can understand that. So we ended up making weight, and he was like, he's not gonna make it, he's not gonna make it, and then he made it. He ended up being a backup for Masters, right? So it's like, no,
Wow.
this kid can, and
Yeah.
he's a great kid. And then I have every year I was there, I took a girl to Masters, and that's something I'm proud of. Um, I had another coach with me. He was actually the girls' head coach when I first got there, named David Aragon. Love the guy, amazing guy. He's my brother. I'll go to war for him any day. I feel bad for the situation he's in at UFC gym, but he got booted out of La Mirada from the same guy, uh, that the head coach of the boys, and it's really bad when you think about it. It's like this one guy has so much power, and when people, I feel like, to me, it's when he started recognizing that me and a couple other guys started getting a little bit better than at coaching than him. It was like, oh, you're stepping on my toes and things like that, and I don't like that. That's when things started getting a little weird, and it's like an ego contest. And I'm not there to be an ego contest. I'm a coach. I'm here to coach. I'm here to get my guys to that level, or specifically at the high school, my girls to that level. And that's something I'm very
Right.
proud of. Is every year I was there, I was able to take a girl to Masters. Um, I I broke the chain. Me and David Aragon broke the chain. We took Amanda Salcido to Masters. The first year we took Amanda and this girl Jasmine. The second year, and then I took. Well, the pandemic year doesn't count because we weren't able to have any type of individual tournaments. It was majority of it was
Right.
team duels. So there's no Masters for that individually. But the fourth year I was there, I ended up taking a girl to Masters again, Avian Nieva, and she's amazing, and she was the captain of the team. And then after that, it was like all my girls um, graduated. All of them graduated except for one, and she's at Noah's with me. So that one was tough
Oh,
because it was like she's my student there. I see her at Noah's, but I'm not at the high school no more. How's she gonna deal with it? It was a big old mess. There was a lot of drama with that, and I was just trying to make sure she was okay and safe. That's my priority, is making sure these kids are safe. I don't want to put them in harm's way. If it was a bad matchup or risk of them getting hurt, I'm not going to put them out there. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Why do they need to have a broken leg or broken shoulder, things like that? I don't need them to be stupid like me.
You recognize it. I love it. Uh, it's obviously it's like the green-eyed monster reared its ugly head, and in that particular instance, you have triple the experience. But speaking of things that you're proud of, none other than Noah Arnold Tillis says you can be proud of your nice.
What are you talking
So,
about? What is this guy talking about? Oh, I love you,
he
Noah.
likes your love. He like.
I
I
get
mean,
it.
he came. I mean, you came with the jiu-jitsu, and then you stayed for the lips. So there you go. I'm just saying. Right on.
Sounds good.
Shout out to Noah, one of my favorite people. Um, and it's a shame Natalie missed out on your coaching. Says Dora.
Yeah,
That's
I love
100%.
little Natalie. She's my girl. I love Nat. I tell her all the time that I'm sorry things went out the way they did because she didn't deserve to be kind of in the middle of all that. Neither did her parents. I love her parents. Her parents are such strong supporters of me, and I appreciate everything they do.
No, and again, it's so weird, right? Because martial arts, right? You get into it to get a sense of self. I mean, theoretically speaking, everybody has a different way about doing things, and the mindset behind it. But in theory, you're supposed to get self defense, self confidence, self worth, all of this stuff, right? While mastering a skill, right? And then, but people, right? Because it's us people that train in martial arts, so people problems kind of come to the max. And it doesn't matter what discipline. It
Yep.
could be taekwondo, tai chi, kickboxing, boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, catch wrestling, what have you. But much like that, that corporate system that it seems like you encountered at UFC gym, and it's not any different than, the corporate world, and dog
Yeah.
eat dog, and they'll sell out their mother and whatever, and that permeates. What do you do when you have like a CEO or executive? Hell, Mark Zuckerberg, right? He posted the video of him fucking hitting mitts,
Yep.
to anybody with a veil of knowledge of MMA knows, not the greatest. I wouldn't have posted that, but again, that's Mark Zuckerberg. Look at the things that he's done, and you could
Right.
call whatever you feel about him aside, what he was able to accomplish. I mean, we're streaming to one of his platforms now, so
Right. Yeah.
there's that. Uh, but it's like, how do you get somebody who's achieved so much to humble themselves on the mat, right?
Yep.
Like, and that's the kind of perpetual deal. Like, if you're a CEO or whatever of a company, and then you come in and you're a white belt, it's like, you almost want to do the Ted DiBiase, and like, you got the belt, I'll pay you for it, and whatever, and then it
That was an
gets,
issue there too. That was an issue
oh
there
yeah,
about
yeah.
paying. They had to pay for their belt.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of friends that are in, like, and I'm sure you do, right? That are in traditional martial arts, like taekwondo, not so much, yeah, maybe taekwondo, but karate, that whatever. And you're not given a belt for proficiency. You have to test, and we have to test. Well, the test costs money. I'm like, what are you even talking about?
No.
In addition to the classes, so you can get a
Hmm.
proficiency to do said tests. I'm like,
Yep.
huh? What the hell? And it's so foreign to me. And for me, I'm a combat sports fan than I am a martial arts fan. Now,
Right.
obviously in MMA and jiu-jitsu, those things intersect.
Hmm.
But if there's a fork in the road, I'm going combat sports rather than traditional martial arts, because I mean, there's the politics, there's the fuckery, there's all of that.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
The one punch, you fly 300 feet. Like,
Right.
my hands are registered as weapons and everything like that. I
Yeah.
can't. Just can't.
I, I
That's
mean,
my,
I
my
think for
personal
me,
opinion.
I'm just not a for one, I'm not a corporate guy. I think I recognize that working there. It was like you guys don't know anything about the sports in general. Like they have boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, obviously, Muay Thai. Uh, they don't care about it. It's like bottom of the barrel. And it's like, dude, what are the first three letters of your gym? It's UFC. What does that entail? Right? Like martial arts, you dorks, get on the ball and start paying us what we're worth as coaches. They're paying us like minimum wage for one, and two, it's like, oh, you did something wrong? You're supposed to mess up. It's not like there's no system there, you know. And I'm not trying to rag on UFC gym because I don't know, I can't speak on behalf of all of them, but the fitness director
Right.
of mine was just terrible, and I, for one, I thought he was my friend, and I'm not hating on him for that, but I honestly looking back, it was like, why did I ever do that? You know, but I'm also eternally grateful that I had the opportunity because I wouldn't have had my students that
Right.
I have now. Because like I built a guy. He was a wrestler. Came in. Oh man, I want to say like 285, 290. His name's Sammy. Huge, right? Him and his brother both came in, and now they're like, or Sammy's like my best friend. His older brother's like I'm really close with. You know, he got married and stuff like that. And it's like, whoa, I'm actually going to a concert tonight with Sammy. I'm going to the Black Keys concert at the Forum, and
Oh, nice.
Sammy's one of my best friends. You know, one of my best students, one of my favorite students. I don't really say I have a favorite student because that's not fair. I try not to
Right.
play that favoritism. Obviously, it shows. I have my favorites, and I think my guys that are part of my clique. I have uh, Sammy, obviously. Sammy has, oh, Jesus, Sammy, forgive me. I think he has 5 or 6 world championships already in a year and a half of
What?
training. In a year and a half of training, he has like 5 or 6 already. Last I think it was last year, we went to Texas and he cleared out the division. Gi, no gi, no gi open, gi open. He went 4 for 4, and then this year, like I said, forgive me because I might be wrong. I think he won 2. I think he won the divisions, and then he got second and third in the opens. I might be wrong. He might have only got 1. He might have got 3. Excuse me. But I have him. I have this guy Ruben, who's also a wrestler, like a pro wrestler. He's hosting his own events now and stuff like that. I love that guy. Um, he actually
Oh,
just had
Iglesias, isn't it?
yeah, Ruben.
He just
He
got
just had
promoted.
he just got promoted as blue belt. That was one of my students too at UFC. Um, I have this guy Roman who just got promoted with them. Jose, David Franco, Nathaniel, Cassandra. You know, I have all these guys, and we built this team from just UFC gym, and they all followed me over. Mike. I have Mike who's competed like right away as soon as he got to know us, and did fairly well. You know, he seems like a nervous guy, and he went out there and looked very, very good, just very fluent, just very mean. And I'm very excited to see where my group goes, right? And it's maybe I'm wrong for doing this, but I separate my guys from Tillis, even though they're part of Tillis, you know, because those are like my group of guys, my batch of guys that I kind of that was the goal, you know. And I told this to Noah when I first went to UFC was, hey, I know this is against everything that we say, you know, like we're not supposed to go to a competitor gym. But the fact of the matter is they're not competing against us. They're trash. UFC gyms are trash at jiu-jitsu, right? Let me get these guys. You know what I'm capable of. Can I build these guys and try to get them here? You know, I thought that always has been my goal was to get them to like from the minors to the majors, right? And that's what we did. And I took my group of guys. There is some of my group uh, that stood at UFC gym, and that's fine. You know, like I don't want them to sit here or and watch this and be like, "Dang, coach hates me." No, no, no. I want you to train. I want you to train wherever,
Yep.
however you can. Right? It doesn't have to be with me. You're still part of my family. You're still part of my story. Right? And everybody has a story. It's important to tell that story. Um, but it's just my immediate guys that followed me. I have more of a relationship with them because I see them more often, right? We kind of in
Right.
passing or in the group text that we have, and go do a super fight, and I look behind me, and these guys are all sitting with my family, my mom, my nana, my uncles, everybody, right? And it's like, whoa, how did I do this? We had a super fight this year. I can't think of. It might have been June. Me, Noah, and Sammy all got in the car, right? And Sammy, like I said, has only been doing jiu-jitsu about a year and a half now. He got on the car, did a nogi match. I'm gonna come out and say it, and he knows, so he won't get upset. He looked like trash. He looked nervous. It was his first match out there on the big stage. Who isn't gonna look nervous? It's okay to lose.
Right.
Um, and then I went out there and to see, not too many people know this, but I was gonna retire from super fights had I lost because I didn't know if it was like something internally that I was just kind of missing out on. Like maybe I'm not that guy anymore that could go out there and pull the trigger. But I had been losing super fights left and right, and I was just like, dude, I suck now. Like I go win tournaments, but maybe the stage is too big for me, dude. Like maybe I'm not that guy anymore. I didn't know. I truly didn't know. And this is right around the time that I left for UFC. Seth Daniels hit me up and he was like, "Hey man, you want to fight?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's try it." If I lose, I'm done. If I lose, I'm gonna be done. But I want a gi match. I knew that because I suck no gi now. I used to be really good at no gi for some reason, and now I'm better in the gi. I love the gi. I love playing the gi, and I put myself in a position, and I put the pressure all on me. I had literally no excuses. I wasn't hurt. I had no job. I had plenty of time to train morning and night. I had Sammy to come pick me up and take me to training every day. Even I have a car, but he wanted to make sure I got there, right? And he was on me,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, man, okay, I gotta train. I gotta be great, My brother had just graduated from high school, or was about to graduate from high school, one or the other. You know, I had so much on my plate, and I wanted to show up for Noah as well because this guy's opened up his gym and given me free reign. He's been like, hey, whatever you need, I got you. You need to train extra, you need to train hard, come train. Hey, if I miss a week and he's like, hey, and Noah with his little sarcastic self, he'll text me and be like, I miss you. Right? Like things like that. And I was just like, I can't fail. So I put a lot of that pressure on me. And I went out there and I had a really good match against this guy, Rick. And he's a really good guy, too. He's really fun. He actually came and trained with me a couple weeks after our match. And
Oh, nice.
cool, cool, cool guy. Really down to earth guy. Uh, but I had to put it on him. I had to put it on, and I ended up doing a choke that kind of went viral a little bit. And I've never practiced this. I've never trained it. I've never even attempted to do it drilling. I hit like a Peruvian necktie with the gi choke, and I threw my leg over the top, and I remember getting up, and I was like, "What did I just do? Like, I threw my leg over. I'm flexible like that. What the heck? What's going on?" And then, but going out there, I walked out, and everything kind of like lined up perfect. I feel like the stars were aligned, and it was just meant. It was my day. It was made for me. I had my family there, and not too many people know this about me, but I didn't talk to my dad's side of the family after he passed away for like 12 years. I didn't really talk to them.
Wow.
Maybe it's half my fault, half their fault, because I'm the kid. I shouldn't have to reach out. You're the adult. You should probably reach out. But I didn't really care about that too much growing up because I had mine. I had my mom, I had my nana, I had my immediate family, my uncles. That's all that mattered to me. If I had them, I'm good. I'm solid. I don't care who you are, if you're family or not family,
Right.
blood or not blood. I don't need you. I need my mama and I need my nana. I need my uncles and I need my little brother. That's all I need, right? So now that having them in my life, it's like almost, I shouldn't say almost, but it's like having my dad there in a sense. You know, I had my aunt and my uncle there. My dad's brother and sister were there. My dad's cousins were there. it just felt good. And then having my own students there as well, and then you know, Team Taylor's was there too, and everything just matched up perfectly.
Yeah,
The energy was great. I walked out to one of my dad's favorite songs, hit a submission that I've never done before, and then I cussed in front of my mom. I don't do that. Uh, I don't do that at all. I try not to. And I was like, let's go. Let's effing go. I was really hyped. It was a good time. And then Noah fought too. Uh, I forget how if he won or lost. But, it was cool because it was like the generational thing. It was like Noah being like the old dog, me being like the newer dog, and then Sammy being the future. It was cool to experience and cool to have and put a lot of pressure on
yeah.
myself. So that was really fun. And it was really cool too
I mean,
because it was like back to back weekends too. Because it was like 3 tournaments every other weekend, and it felt like I was a kid again. Now it's fun. Then I
no,
got hurt.
that's special. I know. But Jose says, you're still the people's champ, right? And Sammy is a monster on those mats, but dude has a heart of gold. None more
Sweetheart.
evident than him taking you, to
Sweetheart.
and from practice. And Bobby says, you killed it at the last one.
We
And
tried.
speaking of your mom, hi, baby.
That's my mama.
There you go. Yeah, man.
That's my
Shut
mama.
up. This is incredible. This is incredible. You've done a good job as a parent myself. You've done a good job with these boys, so you should be proud. And Jose saying, no, unfortunately, lost that particular
He did. He
competition.
did. He did.
You
Now
know,
I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
but
He
still,
had a really tough match though.
but it's those moments,
Happens.
that
Happens.
I
We all
think,
have tough matches.
yeah. But speaking of matches, and there's a couple of things happening in the world of pro wrestling, right? I mean, that is a different type of submission grappling, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
AEW, AEW, what in the hell is going on there?
I hear
Um, you're
it's a mess, right?
right. I mean, we've got so first off, we had like Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. That was like the first kind of, and people forgot. Like people just up and forgot like that ever happened. But they were coming to blows that permeated down to Jamie Hayter and Thunder Rosa being at odds. Thunder Rosa breaking Britt Baker's nose and hiding in the restroom or a closet. So, Jamie Hayter didn't beat the tar out of her. And Thunder Rosa fought for Combate America. Like she she should be the shooter,
Right.
theoretically speaking, but she's the one hiding from pro wrestler in Jimmy Hayter. Then you had obviously, I think the most prominent one is CM Punk and versus the Elite, right? And to me, that had, if you go back, and it's funny how cyclical pro wrestling fans are and everything, and there's so much information on a day-to-day basis, but I don't know if you remember, but Punk hadn't signed yet, right? This is the early days of AEW. And they asked Punk, like, had you had any talks with him? And he kind of dismissed the Bucks, right? Matt and Nick Jackson,
Right.
and
Right.
saying,
Right.
oh, like, if you're going to come at me properly, like, not a text, hey, or do you want to come in, right? Something
Right.
more
Right.
substantial of somebody of Punk's caliber, right? And that whole deal at the all out pay per view scrum and whatever, right? The Punk and the Bucks haven't been seen again, and that pay per view was pretty much nullified at the pay per view because the two big things was Moxley and Punk. Is Punk regaining the championship and the trios title, and by Wednesday, none of that mattered.
Yep. Yep. I don't know. It's a mess over there, man. Like I was reading. Obviously, I don't really follow AEW too much. I think it's a good idea, but I don't think there's enough. Uh, how could I say? Like a story. There's no real stories there, right? Like I think that's what us as like viewers want is more of a storyline to go based off of, as opposed to just let's go out there and fight, which is always great. You want to see good wrestling, It's always great to see that. I'll go out to Ruben's show. I don't know anything, and they put on great matches, and I'm like, oh wow, I was intrigued. But I've always been a storyline guy, right? Like what's happening in WWE with like the Mysterios. So that's intriguing to me. That's what I like to see. I like to see that stuff. I don't feel like I see that enough, and I also feel like, for, as far as Punk, he just is a punk. He's like kind of an
That's
egomaniac.
yeah, and I've been I've only been around Punk one time, but he was absolutely pleasant, so I try not to. But now I'm starting to kind of see what everybody else is saying, and funny enough, Eric Bischoff was talking about that like a year and a half ago, like 6 months before, and
Yeah,
anytime we bring up Punk, that's he kind of calls back to that, and he's right. Unfortunately, he will always be one of my favorite wrestlers, right? I mean
oh, yeah. He
that
knows how to
that's
tell a story. He knows how to tell a story.
yeah,
I just think it's the behind the
and,
scenes things that are probably a problem.
yeah, and it's wild, right? Because I mean, for those who dug Punk, they dug Punk. The FTRs, formerly the Revival, right? The Will Hobbs, and these are people that you can like what they were in AEW, and obviously, FTR Revival already had a run in the WWE, so they have that
Yep.
notoriety. But when you look at like Hobbs or MJF and whatever, after like Punk touched them, right? Like the King Midas touch, like they got better. And who's to
They
say
got
that they
huge.
weren't going to be on that trajectory anyway, right?
Right.
Looking like Hobbs being the enigma that is MJF. But the people that dug Punk, they dug him and they took it and look at where they are now, right? But the people that negate Punk, that's another, you know, that's a whole another can of worms.
Yep.
So yeah,
It's crazy.
this Andrade situation is kind of Andrade Sammy is kind of got me kind of weird, right? Sammy saying that he wants to go back, to the WWE, be with his wife, Charlotte Flair, and everything like that. But just last night, Legado de Fantasma from NXT showed up with Zelina Vega, Andrade's former associate, right? When he was in the WWE. And I was like,
Hmm.
first off, Sammy is an ass. The stuff that he said about the unsavory things that he said about Slasher Banks, right? Um, the Matt Hardy scaffold, whatever the hell that was, that had
Hmm.
Matt Hardy crack his head on TV,
That was
right?
bad. I remember seeing that.
Like,
That was bad.
yeah, the Kingston stuff. Like, Sammy to me is kind of going into like Leah Rush territory, where yes, you're talented, but is the juice worth the squeeze? And that's where I'm getting with Sammy, right?
Yeah.
Then obviously, if you're Andrade trying to get into a fight with Sammy to get fired to end up in the WWE, well, guess what? The WWE has Legado de Fantasma with with Santos Escobar
Hmm.
in, and most people like I put this out to a couple of friends and they were like, that just because they're Latino doesn't mean that they're the same. But okay, take the Latino thing out of it. They're the same character. Tell me
Yep.
what Santos Escobar is different than Andrade. I can't even remember what his name was. I know it was definitely Andrade, Ocean
Right.
Almas or whatever, and then
Something
they
like
just
that.
became
Yeah.
Andrade. But yeah, but like to me, you got Santos Escobar who could cut a promo in English, something that Andrade can't do, right? I mean, if I were Andrade, I would try to make it work because your bread is buttered. They already got a newer, younger you with your
Yep.
manager and a faction that Triple H, the relationship that you think you have with Triple H. Well, guess what? Santos Escobar has same. So where
Yep.
are you? Uh,
Yep. It's
and
a mess.
speaking of
It's a
Triple
mess.
H, it is a mess. And CM Punk had a good promo against Triple H. No, couldn't agree with you more. But it is a mess, right? And it's funny, right? Because Vince McMahon, the Vince McMahon retirement is only 2 months ago,
Yeah.
and the world shift. The WWE is no longer a place you don't want to work. Now it's a place like, hey, I'll go back there, no problem.
Yeah, let's go see what we can do there. Let's see what the differences are. That's it's I think
Uh,
Triple H is doing a better job of kind of being more open minded for one. Um, but I like the fact that he's being a little bit more vulnerable going on the that Ariel Helwani thing. He did that interview with Ariel Helwani. He's done
right.
what was it, Logan Paul, uh, things like that. I like the fact that it's like a sense of vulnerability and trying to push your brand out there again. Trying to say like, hey, this is a different place than what Vince had. You know. Let me ask you a question then.
Sure.
You think Vince still has a big part in it? You think he still has a lot to say or no?
Not
No.
one iota. Honestly, and there, the thing about it is, you would see it if it were Kevin Dunn, right? And for those who don't know, Kevin Dunn has been a longtime executive producer. The WWE format, back in like 85, 86, 87, somewhere in
Mm-hmm.
there, was formatted by Kevin Dunn. So everything that you see visually from any era of WWE from 87 to current day, that's Kevin Dunn's doing, right? So if it were to happen, it would probably be through
With him.
Kevin Dunn, like how Vince used to feed lines to JBL or whatever. Kevin Dunn would be that guy, but that's not happening. And even Kevin Dunn is a little bit like how you were saying about Triple H, right? He's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more open minded, a little bit more vulnerable than he was with Vince. Look at Michael Cole. Michael
Yeah.
Cole's a completely different announcer now, and last night they just shook up everything up.
Yeah. Wade
They
Barrett
got rid of
and all that,
Nigel
right?
McGuinness. I would have actually loved for Nigel McGuinness to be there in place of Booker T. Nothing against Booker T, but I think Nigel McGuinness, like, and especially when you know about that guy, right? When you know about how hard wanted to get into the WWE his entire career. He was a British wrestler, came to Cincinnati, and I don't even think he was in developmental at the time. It was a developmental territory, right, under Les Thatcher, the Heartland Wrestling Association,
Right.
HWA, right, and he paid his own way, right, and then he's learning the style or whatever, and then I think it was like Regal or something like that. He was asking Regal, "Why am I getting signed?" And Regal's like, "You're a British wrestler wrestling American style. They need you to wrestle a British style." So, and then the Nigel McGuinness that we end up knowing and everything like that, that's what happens, right? And then he gets injured right around the time that is supposed to make his, do all the testing to get a WWE contract. And he couldn't afford the tests, and they passed on him, right?
Huh. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he
Yeah.
goes to TNA, becomes Devin Wolf or something like that, whatever. Has a hell of a run there. Should have been
Yep.
world champion. But then, gets hepatitis, right? He
Mm-hmm.
gets hepatitis and then has to retire from in ring. But if you listen to Kevin Dunn, I mean, not Kevin Dunn, uh, I say Kevin Dunn because Uncle Bobby says Kevin Bucky Beaver Dunn. Uncle Bobby's a Jim Cornette fan, so yeah, I
He
like
is.
it. I fucking love it.
He's a wrestling connoisseur for sure.
Yeah, no, shout out to Uncle Bobby. But but it's crazy. Like Nigel McGuinness, everything that he did to get to the WWE, finally comes in 2017 as an like commentating the NXT UK tournament, the first one, and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Does like him and Cole? If you go back to that first tournament, they are money.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
two of them.
They went well together.
Yeah, and you telling me you couldn't find a place like you're bringing up Booker T, who has never been excelled in the commentator. He's good in a panel, He's
Yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
know
Yeah.
he's good even sometimes in backstage interviews and segments. But you know I think he might have a Bischoff-esque run. This last run of Bischoff, where he was an executive and Heyman was an executive and whatever, and Heyman's still there and Bischoff's not. I feel like that's a year's time from now, or even 6 months from now, we're going to say that about Booker T. I actually like Nigel McGuinness a little bit more in this position. So yeah, going back to your question, I don't think there's any footprints or handprints of Vince McMahon because it's completely different. It's completely different,
Right.
and I feel like the team of, and I don't know the synergy of it, but Nick Khan, Triple H, and Steph, that's an amazing team, and that might be an amazing team. So much so that when we go to Mania this year in Inglewood at SoFi, who's to say that it might be the last incarnation of the current day WWE to WrestleMania presentation, and whatever Mania that we get after that will be the first incarnation of a NBC Universal or a Disney owned
Maybe. Yeah.
WWE. Because
I'm trying to go to WrestleMania though. I'm
so
trying
am
to
I.
go.
Yeah, man. Uh, 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 I've never been to a WrestleMania before. I
That's what
grew
I'm
up in Inglewood,
saying.
right? Yeah, I'm just yeah. So, uh, in the words of the great Scott Steiner, if you got the hookup, holla. If you hear us, got some ticks. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah,
It's
please,
like 70,000 people. You can find two. You can find two tickets. Me and Anthony, we're going. No,
really.
man. Okay, and last but not least, um, obviously we've been getting fed these White Rabbit teases, right? I mean, and it's a slow and subtle build, right? It played in between segments, right? The Jefferson Airplane, which I love because none other than David Freiberg, right, from Jefferson Airplane Starship, he actually produced one of my dad's albums when my dad played music.
Oh,
Uh,
that's
so,
lit.
so yeah, so I'm like, if he gets residual checks, kudos to that. That's a guy who produced my dad's album. But in any event, right? There's, it's subtle. It's nothing overdone. And again, going back to, is Vince still about it? Vince will fucking hit you over the head with whatever the fuck this is. That isn't happening. It's a very
That's
slow
true.
burn, and a burn unlike anything that I've ever seen the WWE do. Right? And then then we get the QR codes, right? And all the White Rabbit Jefferson Airplane stuff are happening off air,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I've
And
been
then
watching those on YouTube. I've been watching a lot of those little
yes,
clips on YouTube. It's like, oh, it's intriguing. It's definitely good, really
it's
intriguing.
intriguing, right? So what do you think about the whole approach to it? One, and especially now, like the WWE's newest creative head writer, well, not head writer, but creative writer, is actually somebody that is coming over from Marvel, who
Yep.
happens to be the person who got married the last time any of us had seen Bray Wyatt. In Pasadena, California, it was Morrison, Wyndham Rotunda, and another guy getting married. That guy is a creative person at Marvel coming over to
Huh.
the WWE creative team. So I'm just saying. So what do you think of it, and who do you think it'll be? Because Extreme Rules is tonight.
I am absolutely happy and glad to see something different. Like you said, it's something we've never seen before. The segments between in commercials, after events, things like that. It's very intriguing to see, and it's like, oh, it's something new, something refreshing. But I think we all know who it is. I think we all know it's gonna be Bray. Um, I did hear stories that it was or could have been Edge, or could have been what's his name, Malachi Black, is it? I heard those stories. I heard those things, and I think it's pretty obvious. All the things add up. Um, my question is, how long can they make his character last? Because this is gonna be his third character, fourth character, Fourth, if you're counting
Yeah,
the Nexus version of him.
Husky Husky
Husky Harris.
Harris.
Yeah, that was
I'm a
incredible.
I'm a poor. What is it like? I'm a tank with a Porsche engine. That was
Yeah,
the
that
and
was his little thing.
it was a good promo for what it was. You
Yeah,
know, like
that was cool.
it was a hell of a promo. And I mean, actually fifth if you because pre Bray Wyatt, you know, after he goes back to FCW, right after the whole Husky Harris deal, he goes back to FCW and he starts portraying this character as Axel Mulligan, Axel Rose,
I do
right
remember
from
that. I
Guns
do
N'
remember
Roses,
that.
right, and then Mulligan, his family surname, his grandfather's Blackjack Mulligan, and it's funny because like people are like, oh my god, like he's IRS's son, but also he is Blackjack Mulligan's grandson. He is Barry Windham's nephew. Like,
Yep.
holy shit. When you talk about, prestigious families in wrestling, you got to
Yeah.
put the Wyndham Rotunda family in there.
Yeah. Definitely. I think also. I don't know. He plays his role so well. I feel. I just like. I mean, the Fiend. How long could have it lasted? Like it wasn't gonna last that long. He's not a
I think
Undertaker
they dropped the
character.
ball.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
hundred
think they
percent.
dropped the ball.
But they'll never. I think they're kind of going for like a Mystique, like the Undertaker type of deal. Um, there'll never be another Undertaker though. He's my goat. Undertaker's my goat.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't necessarily have to, right? Because I mean, even before Undertaker, there was Papa Shango, right?
Yeah,
If you look back to like old FCW, I'm talking about like Eddie Graham,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Look at the shit. Look at the shit that Kevin Sullivan was doing, especially with the maniac Mark Lewin, the Purple Haze. Like you want to
Yep.
fucking go in like if you think nothing against Mark Calloway or the Undertaker character, I love it. I love it. But I go back and watch Mark Lewin in Florida, where he would
Hmm.
roll his eyes back and come and whatever. Like he looked like he was fucking possessed. That guy, you know.
Right.
Um, so to me, Undertaker is kind of like a monster mash of, you know, a Mark Lewin, right, in terms of the supernatural, but the technicality of the spoiler, Don Jardine, coming off the top, walking across the rope
Walking the
and
top rope. Yeah.
delivering that, yeah, like that's the spoiler, So um, now, obviously, Mark Calloway took that character far beyond anybody else's wildest imaginations, right? And in that Vince system where Vince is so fickle, you know, and yeah, I mean, I think it was like Mania 13, or Mania 18, they realized that Taker
On
had
the
a
streak
streak, right?
against Flair.
So, right. So, with that being said, like Vince McMahon and the powers that be, and think of all the regime changes, the Vince Russos, the Bruce Richards, Pat Patterson, all whatever, all of those times. But even Vince had the wherewithal, even though he didn't know it. We're gonna book Taker Strong every Mania. That's incredible.
Yep.
But
Yep.
but go back and watch the Mark Lewin,
All
hundred
right.
percent.
Yeah, I
You
will. I will.
you can thank me
100%.
later.
I will.
You can thank me later. But speaking of things, I mean, obviously you have had an amazing 15-year career. As you're inching closer to your 20-year anniversary in Jiu-Jitsu, you have a support system, right? A support system that is in the chat. Michael Martinez saying fire. And yes, Jose Ventura says his Eater of Worlds gimmick was great. We didn't deserve him. 100%. But hopefully we can alms bear tonight at Extreme Rules on the Peacock Network. So as Conrad Thompson says, fire up your Peacock. Watch the Extreme Rules. Just saying. But Anthony, you've had a lot of amazing support behind you. So let's go ahead and shout them out. I'm going to put you full screen. Let's go.
Well, first and foremost, gotta thank my family. If it's not for my family, I wouldn't be here. Uh, my family is my reason that I want to keep going. Um, My brother's my biggest reason why. I love the kid more than there is days, you know, days in the week. He's my biggest inspiration. I absolutely adore him. Um, I got my team, my teammates at Tillis have been super supportive of me. I've been at Noah's almost 5 years now, and they've been very very supportive, very helpful, very impactful on my life. Obviously, I got to thank Noah, the man, the myth, the legend. He, just super super helpful in my career and in my on my path of trying to be the best jiu-jitsu practitioner I can. You know, letting me do privates at his gym, letting me teach there if he needs help, I can help. Letting me bring my students in, letting me train there, uh, and allowing me to kind of take the name a little bit to tournaments and be like, hey, who do you represent? I represent Noah, whether he's there or not. I'm Tillis. I'm Team Tillis through and through. Um, I gotta thank my students. I got a lot of them. Without these guys, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't be uh, able to stand and be happy the way I am in terms of me being able to showcase my jiu-jitsu and give me the reason why, like, hey, I know you got your family, I know everybody's here, but the fact that they're here, you got to showcase great jiu-jitsu and perform for them and and show the respect to not only your opponent but the coaches and the team, things like that. You don't ever want to disrespect and portray the wrong thing on your team as well. Um, I got to give a lot of thanks to my tight squad. We call it they call it the Ant Squad. Great guys. We got Naz. We got uh, Ruben, Roman, Jose, Franco, Nathaniel, Cass. I keep going. Sammy, Mike, the other Mike, um, my whole team. There's so many. Bambi, Avian, Madison, Natalie, everybody that's been on my team, my guideline, my path. Just huge thank you. Got to keep going. Be strong together. JT, um, everybody's been a great help for me. My sponsors, Breakpoint, um, Fighters Only Club, Cauliflower Nation, Painted Demons, Our Life CBD. I appreciate everything you guys have been able to help me with and give me and provide for me and showcase for me. And big thanks to Woods. Woods needs some more credit too. That boy, my guy right here, gives us the platform to come on here and speak our mind and have fun and you know, uh, talk a lot and kind of vent a little bit and tell our story. That's one of my biggest things is I tell my friends, my students, everybody has a story, and I think we all need to tell it, right? And I'm able to showcase my story and tell you guys my story through Woods. Obviously, if I am able to talk to you guys one on one, we can talk and we get personal and things like that. But to put it on a platform like this, you don't really get the opportunity to. And I just call you Woods, but he has an actual name. Adam gives me the platform to come on here and tell my story and showcase my story and show my thanks and appreciation to everybody. So I think Woods needs a little bit more. Put some respect on that boy name.
You're too kind. You're too kind. I love it. But I going back, right? Like I think all of you guys, right? All of you coaches, fighters, people who are sponsors, everybody in the fight game, referees, whatever. You guys are all my family. As you guys can tell, I'm a lifelong fan of all things combat sports, right? So the fact that I am able to have access to amazing, not just athletes like Anthony, but human beings that are like I can call him brother, like and mean it. no brother or whatever. Like, nah, this dude's my brother. Like,
Yeah.
I just love it. And what do you do with those access? If you have access to some names or not names or up and coming names or whatever, or just people that you think are intriguing, well, you showcase them in the best way you can. So this is the best way I can at this juncture, and that's it. You got it. You got it. So I thank you. This is a love letter to you in all of the years and all of the pain and sacrifices that you put into your art, right? All the sacrifices that your family has made for you to continue your art. And for anybody that is wondering or kind of on the fence about taking up a combat sport, a jiu-jitsu, any type of martial arts, well, guess what? You don't have to be a, you know, jacked up juice head or whatever, like some of the most intelligent people are in combat sports. Come over. We'll welcome you.
Yep.
Don't be a dick. I'm just saying, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That's what I got.
Just come on here, have fun, tell your story, man. Everybody has a story.
Yeah.
Not everybody has a pretty upbringing. I got my story. I lost my dad and grandpa 5 months apart. And the next year, I'm doing jiu-jitsu, and then here I am. I'm just a kid from Whittier that's supposed to be a football player.
Yeah. But you've done, I think you've done more in jiu-jitsu that even if it went right, if all of those horrific things hadn't happened to you, I think you've attained a hell of a lot more in jiu-jitsu and life lessons. I mean, when you're like
Oh,
23,
100%.
the life
100%.
that comes from the pretty lips that Noah, likes so much. But it to me, I thought you were older than me the first time I met you, and you're like, what? But it's you and your mom and having to deal with your dad and grandma's passing so early, right? You and the Velasquez brothers, Jesse,
Hey, shout out to
and
them,
his brother.
bro. They're
Yeah, man,
lit.
you
He
guys
was
are
posting about me too.
you guys are doing it way before. You guys are jujitsu babies that became jujitsu men. Josh and Jesse Velasquez. Like, there's so many of you. Then there's like, the new breed of like Jaden Patches Murillo and what have you. So it's just mind blowing that this happens. And again, to have access to you guys at this juncture of your life, Mario Yamasaki's. There we go. Just saying.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
also
what's funny? You know what's funny
Yamasaki's.
about Jesse?
Oh, go ahead.
So me, I competed against Jesse's coach at one of the tournaments recently, and I'm competing against him. I hear Jesse in the background, and I look over, and I'm like, we're bros, dude. What are you doing to me? Why are you coaching against me?" He's like, "That's my coach." I was like, "All right, dude, this guy. I thought we were boys. You're coaching against me. I wouldn't coach against you, bro. What are you doing to me?" But that was funny. I fought his coach, and I accidentally hurt his coach, and I felt terrible. But I guess it was a prior injury, and I was like, I took out my frustration on you because Jesse was coaching against me. But it was all love. It was all love. But it was just hilarious because in the middle of the match. I was like, oh! It was funny.
Because he has a distinct voice. Jesse and Jocelyn's voice, respectively, voice
Yep.
so distinctly. Like, you can pick him out in the crowd. So, and I mean, the years that you guys have put in, the same 15 years that you put in, I think you guys are
He's
like
been.
neck and neck.
Yeah,
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 you,
yeah. I think we're about the same time. I
within
think we're
months.
about the same time.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to fight one of them. I've always wanted to fight one of them, but we've never been in the same bracket because I'm fat. So I've never had the honor to roll with them or compete against them. But growing up, I say this every time I'm on this thing. They were the best, and I felt like I was the best, and it was always like, oh, let's fight. And then I was always fatter than them, so I couldn't fight them. Should be a kids open
I
weight
say
division.
we, yeah, much like I know your mom, I know your mom, I know their mom. I think we're gonna put some chili dogs in whatever the fuck they're eating. Like if they're doing acai, we're gonna put chili dogs in it, so
Make
they'll
them
get
fat, bro.
weight. Yeah, just yeah, and they're gonna love it. Like they've been, top tier athletes for so long. You
Yep,
slip a
they're
chili
great.
dog in there, and it's just like saying, man. Like,
Yep.
and then the tortas and everything. Like, we'll get it done. We'll get it done. And before the 20th year, before you hang up your gi, We're gonna have Vasquez versus Aguilera. Hell, I'm gonna commentate it. That's it. That's it. I'm just saying.
I
But
mean,
speaking of all things, we'd like to thank you for joining us here at According to Woods. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to According to Woods, not just on the main page, the Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, but also on bodyslam.net. That's where we're being simulcast right now. So go ahead and follow their socials. And good brother, you're subscribed to the podcast, aren't you?
I am. I think I'm subscribed on YouTube and Facebook. I don't really have
See?
anything else though.
So you have
I
a
don't have
lot
Twitch.
else. Just
I
might
don't
not
have
be in the
Twitch
social media realm.
or anything like that. Yeah, I don't have Twitch or
I
anything
don't
like
have
that.
a brown belt. I don't have a brown belt. I've never been in a super fight other than the one in Inglewood in '03, but we don't want to talk about that. Anywho, uh, so you got a lot. But take it from him. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. But if you don't believe me, you don't believe Anthony, and I don't know why you wouldn't, well, here's combat sports athlete Zeta Zhang.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe to According to Woods YouTube.
And we're still here. Yeah. There we go.